Hi, everybody. Guess what time it is? It's story time. Okay, so I have my little safari hat. Don't it look cute? Doesn't Miss Lynn look cute? All right, I have my little safari hat because of the book that we are going to read today, the adventure that we're going to go on today. So let's start this way. Story time, story time. Are you ready for story time? Let's take an adventure, let's take a trip. Grab a book and zippity zip. Let's take an adventure, let's take a trip during our story time. Yeah, I'm excited for this adventure today. We're going to read a book called Mr. Wrinkles. That's a very serious name. Mr. Wrinkles. And this book was written by Robert Pearce, and it was illustrated. All of the pictures were illustrated by Jacqueline East. All right, here we go on our adventure with Mr. Wrinkles. Let's see. Oh, look, all of the animals. Don't y'all just love that? Let's see what we can pick out. Whoop, my chair. My chair folded up on me. Woohoo! All right, see, I told you, an adventure every single time. All right, we have an elephant. We have all kinds of parrots and muskrats and, oh, there's a giraffe. Giraffe. Oh my goodness, so many animals. Let's see. Wonder if that has anything to do with the story. Well, let's see. All right, Mr. Wrinkles. Mr. Wrinkles was an elephant. Okay. And not just any elephant. He was the oldest, the wisest elephant in all of Africa. He knew the names of all the other animals for miles around because, let's not forget, an elephant never forgets. Elephants have quite a memory. I wish my memory was as good. Mr. Wrinkles made the same long journey out to the waterhole each day. He spoke to all the brightly colored birds who told him about the things they had seen on their travels. They told him about the lions out on the plain and the crocodiles who were making a nuisance of themselves in the river again. Look at them crocodiles right there. They look like they're having some fun, though, don't you think? All right, y'all forgive me for any coughs and sniffles, okay? Not sick, just allergies. You know, all that yellow pollen stuff? Yeah, that's all it is, okay? All right, he spoke to the giraffes who were already munching on their breakfast. It was their favorite, acacia leaves. They told him about the morning before the sun had risen and were kind enough to share some of their leaves with him. Mr. Wrinkles enjoyed having his breakfast at the waterhole very much, but could not stay long. He had to walk a long way to see his friend, Mr. Cheetah. So he stopped and saw the giraffes, and then look, he's on his way to see Mr. Cheetah. Oh, goodness. On his way, Mr. Wrinkles felt the ground move beneath him, and before he knew it, he was stuck in a big hole. Being wise, he did not panic. I would have panicked. Would you have panicked if you were stuck in a big hole? Shucks, I would have panicked. Mr. Wrinkles knew that there must be a way out. He just had to think. He had a long look around to see who was there and moved his legs a little. The hole was deep and cold and came up to his middle. After a few minutes, he decided to call out for help. Okay? What does calling out for help sound like? Can y'all call out for help? Help! Help! Help me! Help me, he shouted. I am stuck in a hole and cannot move. He wiggled some more. Wiggle. Get your wiggles out. He wiggled some more until finally he decided to stop and wait for someone to arrive. Very soon, a tiny head appeared. It was a meerkat named Eddie. Hello, Mr. Wrinkles. I was just out playing with my brothers and sisters and I thought I heard something. Do you need a hand? I do, my friend. Could you help me get out of this hole, please? So there's a meerkat. Meerkat coming to help Mr. Wrinkles. Just then, another tiny head appeared, then another, and another until he was completely surrounded by meerkats. Mr. Wrinkles knew all their names, but could not say hello to everyone. It would take far too long. Hello, everyone, he said. Please, could you help me? I am stuck. But how can we help you? You are so big and we are so small, someone said. Don't you worry, Eddie said. I have an idea. There are lots of us. We will find someone to get you out of here. There's a lot of meerkats, aren't there? Yep, they all came. They all came to help Mr. Wrinkles. Eddie and all his brothers and sisters began to spread out in search of help. It was not long until they found 3 giraffes. 1, 2, 3 giraffes called Spot, Speckle, and Freckle, who were more than happy to help their old friend. The giraffes with their long necks. Do you have a long neck? Not like a giraffe, we don't. But giraffes have a long neck. Each pulled a branch down from a nearby tree and told Mr. Wrinkles to hold on tight. He wrapped his trunk around the long branches and with a heave and a roar, he pulled as hard as he could, but he moved just a little. They stopped to rest because it was a very hot day. As they tried to decide what to do, 100 birds of all different colors flew down from the bright sky to sit on his back. They flapped their wings with all their might to try to lift him while he pulled again with his long trunk, and he moved a little bit more. Look at all those beautiful birds. A few hours later, as Mr. Wrinkles was thinking he would never get out, a big wildebeest called Clive, with long pointy horns, found the group. Hello, Mr. Wrinkles. I heard a hornbill saying that you were stuck. Can I offer you my assistance? Oh, yes, please, Clive. I would appreciate it very much. There's a wildebeest right there. I don't know, he just looked like he was from the country, so I tried that accent out. Clive stood behind Mr. Wrinkles, and together they flapped, and they pulled, and they cheered, and they pushed until, with a shout and a roar, Mr. Wrinkles climbed out of the hole. Look at that. Yay, Mr. Wrinkles. Thank you very much, my friends, he said. You are all very special to me. I would not have been able to get out of that hole without each and every one of you working together as a team. He looked at all the animals gathered around him and smiled. My meerkat friends, even though you are small, there are many of you, and your voices spread the word of my problem far and wide. Spot, Speckle, and Freckle, your long necks helped reach the highest branches for me to hold on to. My bird friends, even though you are not very strong, together your wings are stronger than the strongest lion. And finally, Clive, my good wildebeest friend, you are fast and strong. Look how he's thanking every one of his friends. Thank you, everyone, for being such good friends. Even though all of you are different, you are all very special indeed. This is a day I will never forget. Mr. Wrinkles celebrated that evening with all his friends and thanked them and promised that he would always be there if they ever fell into a hole. Look at that, the end. How wonderful is that? Isn't that amazing? And back to that picture of all of them working so hard and working together, working together. That's something that's really, really important. We're all different and we can all do different things. We all have things that we're really, really good at. And what I'm really, really good at might be different than what somebody else is really, really good at. But when we all come together, you know what? We can get things done like this. We can help one another. So I really, really love, love, love this story because it's a good story about teamwork. Even inside of your family, right? You're a team. Aren't you a team? I know here in our home, we have me and Pastor Michael, and we have Miss Birdie, we have Matthew and Joshua. But when we work as a team, we can get things done a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot of times it turns out better than just us doing it by ourselves. So it's good to have a team to work with. Okay? So before I go, because I was only going to do one book this time, I was told that 2 books last time was a little bit much. So I'm trying one book. But I want to leave, before we do our final song, I want to sing a song with you. And I don't know, it might be one that you already know. It might be a very, very brand new song for you. But you know what? I've heard adults lately having a challenge on Facebook singing this song. And I think it's a great song that we're going to do right now. Okay, so I want you to take your hands just like this. This represents God's hands. Okay, and I want you to pretend. I'm looking around. I don't see a ball. I wish I'd had a ball. But this is my bedroom. I don't have balls in my bedroom. Oh my goodness. All right, so these are God's hands, right? And I want you to pretend that there's a ball. So the world is sitting in those big, big hands of God's, right? And let's sing this song. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 Let's sing it again. Now when we say whole world, let's do like this. Okay, ready? He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got my mama and my daddy in his hands. He's got my mama and my daddy in his hands. He's got my mama and my daddy in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got my brother and my sisters in his hands. He's got my brothers and my sisters in his hands. He's got my brothers and my sisters in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. What about that little baby? He's got the pretty little baby in his hands. He's got the pretty little baby in his hands. He's got the pretty little baby in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you and me in his hands. He's got you and me in his hands. He's got you and me in his hands. You know what? He's got the whole world in his hands. That's right. He's got every one of us right there in the very palm of his hands. So no concerns, no worries, no monsters, no nothing can get us because we are protected by God right there in his hands. Okay? All right. I am so glad that y'all joined me today. Now, I will be back Friday morning at 11. So make sure you mark your calendars. Friday morning at 11. We're gonna have some fun talking about Easter or Resurrection Sunday and the story of Jesus. So please join me Friday at 11, and I'll meet you back right here, okay? Story time, story time. We're all done with story time. We took an adventure, we took a trip. We grabbed a book, we zippity zipped. We took an adventure, we took a trip during our story time. I love you bunches, friends.